Today we're going to be looking at why no one should be worried with Trump running for a third term. We're also going to be seeing why Zohar Mandami literally proves in a message to conservatives why he is not good for New York City. And of course, one of the biggest headlines of the past several months, Trump signs in the deal to end the 43-day government shutdown. It's very exciting. All big headlines today, and we're gonna see you guys on the other side. Firstly, happy Veterans Day to all you who served. We're very grateful for you. Your service means more than really words can express. I have multiple veterans in my family. I know multiple veterans. These are very precious people who deserve the best that our country can offer. People who are not paid enough for what they do when they are paying it all. And I think that's something incredible that we're really missing as a country, like how much our veterans truly deserve and how much they're actually getting. Our country was founded on those who gave us these freedoms, and I think that's one of the greatest reasons that America is so great. It's because the people that died for it are what made it great. When we lose appreciation for that, we lose what we are at the core as a nation. And it's very important to always remember what it is that gives us our freedom, gives us the ability to be the America that we are, the global superpower that we are. And there's a certain pride you should have in the military and in those who served to give you your freedom. And I feel like there's a severe lack of that these days, which is incredibly unfortunate and something I would love to see back. However, there are many veterans over the weekend that clearly expressed that what they fought for is not being lived up to today. That their generation was so different from ours. And I totally agree. Guys, the generation, especially like I'm a Gen Zer, the generation of Gen Z, Gen Alpha, if these people are sent off to war, are going to be in a tough spot, my lads. Okay? It's a bunch of couch potatoes, okay? Bunch of 6, 7 kids, okay? We can't be having this in the army. We can't have that in the military. Our country will be right if the brain rot generation is what serves in a massive war. Okay? This was a totally different generation. The World War I, World War II, Vietnam, these were different kind of people. And they saw real value, and they suffered and didn't complain about the suffering. I mean, you just study what happened to the prisoners of war in Japan, things like that. You will quickly see, okay, that this is a totally different stock of men. And there's a clip of a veteran who went on Good Morning Britain, and he is speaking the absolute truth, this man. He's incredible with what he says here. He literally starts off the interview. He's like 100 years old or so. He literally starts off the interview. After being thanked, he just humbly says, like, there was nothing to thank him for. Because he did nothing that another person from his generation wouldn't have done. He was just one of the lucky ones, per his words. He was just lucky to have survived. That's what he said. So a very humble man, always trying, to give the honor to other people, point the gratitudes toward others. However, he is asked by the main interviewing lady, who you can immediately tell is not conservative. He's asked what his message is to the people on Remembrance Sunday. And this is what he says right here. Check it out.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
The sacrifice is not worth the result that it is now. That right there is so incredibly powerful. Something I must admit, I totally agree with him on that. He is totally right. This man is watching his country, for example, Britain. It's being taken over. England is literally being taken over by Muslims. It's being taken over by radicals. It's being taken over by people that are no longer English blood. So the people making decisions in Parliament, the people voting, these are all people who are not the real Brits. The people this man was fighting for, the ideology, the England that this good sir was fighting for, is not the England of today. And he has to watch that in his old age, knowing that this man was on Normandy. He saw many men die, many men. Yet each one tallied up, it just was not worth the result that it is today. That is something horrendous that a veteran should never have to say. They should never have to come to that realization. They should never have to make that point to people. When they do, it totally proves where we are as a society. That we cannot just have good morals anymore. We don't enjoy the freedom that was given to us. We are entitled, and we do not use with gratitude the freedom that was given to us. And I think that's something that's incredibly unfortunate. What are we doing as a world? What are we doing if we cannot maintain that which our predecessors gave to us? These men literally gave it all, so we could just mistreat it and act like it was nothing, and kill our babies and mutilate our children? Is that why they fought? Is that really why they fought? Did they fight so that we could just allow communism into our country? Did they fight so that we could have discussions about what's a man and what's a woman? No, these people fought for freedom, and they fought for good morals and what they believed was right. Okay, they were fighting against Nazi Germany, for one. Okay, and now people seem to just love to embrace Nazism these days. Again, no thank you. No thank you. This man is totally correct. I wish everyone could listen to this snippet because it says so much. If there's anyone in society we should be listening to, it is absolutely this veteran. Absolutely. He has the most experience. And he was there. He was there when World War II happened. He was fighting in World War II. He knew what corruption looked like. He knows now, especially what corruption looks like, as he watches his country fall to pieces. Its economy, its society, all of it is falling to pieces. And it is not like England had malnutrition. Politically, it has been an extremely blessed country with many chances to be the great of the greats. But the same thing that has happened to England and so many other countries will happen to America if we do not stop and check ourselves. It will happen. And watch out for it. Watch out for it. Because if we do not make better choices, it will happen. Well, there's been a lot of buzz about Donald Trump running for a third term. And here's what he had to say about it, because I think it's a really good answer, and one people should pay a lot more attention to, because they just don't. And so, let's listen. This is what Trump said about running for a third term.
Speaker Johnson says that he told you that there's no time to amend the Constitution to allow you to serve a third term. Is that an accurate representation of the conversation?
I don't know. I don't want to even talk about that because, you know, the sad thing is I have my highest numbers that I've ever had, as I should. I ended 8 wars, and we have the greatest economy in history. I have the best numbers for any president in many years, any president. And I would say that if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. I missed it. But we have a lot of great people.
He said it for himself, okay? He literally said it for all y'all to see. Those that are doubting that Donald Trump will not run, that he's just totally faking here, there you go. There's your proof. Clearly, he said he didn't even want to talk about it. That's how opposed he is to the idea. You cannot just think this man will become the dictator or the king that you want him to be so you can prove your point. All these protests, the No King protest, okay, the biggest sign that he would have been a king-like figure or a dictator was if he had gone in for that third term, which he clearly just stated he will not. The Constitution does not allow him to run for a third term. The only way he could possibly run for a third term is if J.D. Vance or some other was elected, then chose him as vice president, then stepped down so that he could come into power. This is the only legal way. And I do not think that is going to happen. I think there's no reason to freak out about this. Okay? Donald Trump, he's already up there in years. He knows what the Constitution says, and he knows what's good for the country. I don't think he is going to even think about it. He very clearly stated there. It's not what he was going to do. So again, you can freak out all you want about all of this, but there's really no reason. Because at the end of all things, Donald Trump has made a clear statement, and all you have to do is listen to him. And here's even the backfiring part, because he won't run for a third term if he obviously values our Constitution, values our country's morals. He will not be running for a third term just based on law. But also, you want the people to be satisfied. And the people will not be satisfied if he runs for a third term. As much as there are the people who want him to run for a third term or would like him to hypothetically, he won't do it because he knows that his duty was 8 years. The maximum he deserved was 8 years. There's no reason to try to eke in 4 more. Okay, it's not worth it. So I think, well said by Donald Trump to kind of get that off his back, get people away from saying that, because I'm sure it does get on his nerves when they're saying this stuff about him that he's clearly denying, right? So we'll see how that kind of dies off, because I'm quite sure it will. It's an unpopular idea with so many people. Of course, we can't have a great episode without talking about Zoran Mandami, because this guy is still obviously on the big scene, and it's just going to get more and more so as time goes on, especially in January when he was sworn in. But he's proving why as mayor he will fail. I have this friend, okay? He's been getting me a lot of great clips to react to. Slowly feeding them. He's my behind the scenes kind of guy. Does not edit my videos, so I'm still needing an editor. But he is getting me stuff behind the scenes to check out, to kind of react to. So thanks to him, it's been great. But he did give me this one really great clip, and I've been reading up so much on Zoran Mamdani, kind of his history, how he's affiliated with jihadi people. Yeah, that's great. But he got me this clip where it basically proves why Mamdani is going to fail as mayor of New York City. So watch this video, and let's just play it here, and we will see why he's not going to be a good mayor.
I told my conservative family that I'm interviewing you, and they had some questions. So I'm going to read.
I'm going to be a mayor for them, too.
Pretend you're at the dinner table with my family. If you make buses completely free, what's to stop homeless people from camping out in the back?
So when we made 5 bus routes free across New York City, when we were in the midst of that push in the state legislature, we were told that making them free would increase the amount of homeless New Yorkers who were using the bus, that it would become a roving homeless encampment. What we found is actually making them free had no impact. And what it actually did is provide economic relief. Provided was public safety, because it decreased assaults on bus operators by 38.9%, and environmental benefits, because more than 10% of new riders were previously driving their own car or taking a cab. Now they were taking the bus.
All right. From my other conservative family member, the city has made a lot of progress on crime and disorder. Are you going to stop that with your liberal policies?
It has been a good thing to see the decline in crime. We also have to ensure that we are addressing the many different crises that are making New Yorkers also feel unsafe. I asked New Yorkers, where do you feel most unease, they will often say public transit. And they'll say it's because of the mental health crisis and the homelessness crisis. Yeah. And we've been asking police officers to deal with this when their job should be dealing with serious crimes. That's why we're going to create a Department of Community Safety that will address a number of issues, chief among them homelessness and the mental health crisis, to actually connect those New Yorkers with the services that they deserve to get them out of the subway system and into the very places that will provide them with those services.
And that all sounds nice, but who's going to play Candy Crush on their phones while civilians take down an active shooter?
I am only answering one question from each conservative family member.
Here's a doozy. I have 2 homeless encampments outside my house. It sucks. I feel for them, but I have a right to order in my neighborhood, not getting hit up 5 times as soon as I step outside.
This is city government's responsibility. It's not actually your conservative relative's responsibility. That's something that my city government is going to live up to. We have about 4,200 New Yorkers who are living on subway platforms across New York City. We have almost the same number of vacant supportive housing units in New York City. Mm-hmm. It's our job to make that connection. It's our job to build enough housing such that everyone can find a place to live, and our job to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants so we're not pushing people into homelessness.
And just to be fair, some of my conservative family members are voting for you. They're voting for you like this, like, right? Which, you know what? I'll take it.
We'll take it.
I'll take it.
We'll win them over and earn their trust when I'm in city government.
So, a lot to break down here because, well, there just is a lot to break down. Very first thing, of course, that I want to look at here, you'll notice that his great defense for the free buses, which, as you that have watched my podcast clearly know, I'm totally against. His great defense for them is that they bring crime down. However, he's kind of mixing up some stats here. Why? Assault on bus operators does not go down when you make the buses free. That makes really no sense at all, actually. They just don't. They have gone down as of late. In fact, they went down from 2023 to 2024 by like 60 or so. It was about 161 in 2023, and it came down a reasonable amount in 2024. But that is actually because the New York Police Department, the NYPD, has been doing a much better job. It has nothing to do really with free buses. This is actually a question that is addressed. The second conservative family member asks, will your liberal policies affect the improvement in crime and things like that? The NYPD has been quite effective as of late. Okay, it has nothing to do with free buses. And beyond that, the poor NYPD, there are so many, literally ICE, okay, and the Border Patrol have opened up and said, you from the New York Police Department, come join us if you would like to. They're offering massive bonuses, okay, all sorts of stuff to get you started, settled, because they know New York police are fleeing the city. Okay, Zoran Mamdani is not a friend of the police. He is not a friend of the police. He is not an enforcer of the law either. Okay, so it would make sense, and you get better paid, better job if you're doing with ICE or Border Patrol. So lots of them are fleeing. So now you're going to lose that good quality law enforcement that you had with them, and that brought crime down. Beyond this, according to the Coalition of the Homeless, there are about 103,000 homeless people in New York City right now. His number of those staying on subway platforms is so low compared to that. Okay? He said we have just about that number, you know, of places where these people can stay. You also have to deal with the other, 99,000 or so is 4,000 some on the subway. So you have to deal with an exponentially larger amount of homeless people. The issue is we don't just want them off the subway platforms in New York City. The people want them out of their property, you know, off the streets. Like I said in the video, nobody wants to walk outside to 5 homeless people, okay, just standing outside your home trying to hit you up, okay? Nobody wants to do that. So do not just focus on the subway homeless people. Why does he have to focus on them? Because he knows that it will, in fact, the homeless people will, in fact, stay on those buses. So if he cleans up the platforms, the homeless people are off the platform, there'll be no homeless people, per se, on the buses. Looks great. Now, the rest of the city needs that. But as long as it protects his policies, okay, as long as it protects what he's doing and gives kind of the fake facade, then he's good. And that is why Mamdani will not be a good mayor. Beyond his socialist ideologies, his methods, which are total just junk, this whole idea of free stuff is it's such a fallacy. Okay, I have said this so many times. It's so unrealistic. You can't just have free stuff everywhere and then expect people not to abuse it too. Free stuff usually gets abused because everyone has access to it. That's why you can't just stay in a hotel. You must pay to stay in a hotel. You must pay to go to galas and things like that, because that is what not only earns those people their money, that is what guarantees that people who have the ability to upkeep that place are the only ones going in there. Alright, if you just open up a hotel to homeless people, again, Portland is a great example of what would happen if you did that. So, you cannot do that. And most people are aware of this. But again, the young New Yorkers obviously hear free, and that's what they want to go to. The U.S. government shutdown, however, which lasted the record 43 days, was from October 1st to November 12th, I believe. If my dates are on, and they usually are, most of the time, pretty reasonable. The shutdown basically concluded after Congress passed a revised appropriations bill, which Trump signed into law on the evening of November 12th, 2025. The House of Representatives passed the bill on a mostly party line vote. It was 222 to 209, if I'm not mistaken. This is following the Senate's approval by a 60 to 40 vote, so 60 in favor, 40 against. That also, in fact, did include 8 Democrats that kind of left their party line, sided with the Republicans to open up the government again. And of course, the Dems are freaking out, and they're saying, this is horrible. What have we done? How have we allowed the government to reopen and let down all the illegals, all the wicked people that we want to give money to? Where will we get our 1.5 trillion? How will we upkeep the great Obamacare that has kept this nation afloat? So they're freaking out. And then the guy nobody expects, right? Nobody expects this guy. John Fetterman, he's a Pennsylvania senator. He made an incredible stance. No one expected him to be so firm and so correct, too. Check this out. The hoodie-wearing senator literally had these words to say on an interview with Fox.
How relieved are you that the government's going to be open?
I mean, so relieved. I think my party crossed a line of now putting 42 million Americans with their SNAP benefits and making flying less safe and that kinds of chaos and not paying our military. I mean, that was a red line for me that I can't cross as a Democrat. And I think that's been described, country over the party. And now that I think that's been the truth throughout it, and it's only wrong to shut our government down. And I'm relieved. But the people now that are going to get paid and fed and millions of Americans, they're going to be flying now. That's going to be made more safe and restored.
There you go. There you go. My man, he is preaching. He is absolutely cooking right now. That is so true. He's totally right about all this. You cannot shut the government down for the things that the Democrats were shutting it down for. It's just people. America will be happy when it is paid and fed. That is how countries work. When people are paid and when they're fed, they are in fact much more rational than when they are not. Okay, so do not rob your country of what they are working for, and then try to come to a rational agreement. No, when everyone is being paid and fed, then they will actually be a lot more rational, be able to make a better decision. The Democrats were trying to fight a war while depriving the people. You can't do that. You have to satisfy the people, give them what they're working for. That's just what our country is all about, in fact. And not keep them captive. So that's what they were doing, was closing the government is keeping the people captive. And when they freed them and were able to pass over that ability to, I work and now I get paid, right? So now you're going to have safe flights. You're going to have people getting food and all these things. This is what the government actually needed. Instead of a shutdown, it just needed things to work and move forward. And the engine of America needed to be running. You cannot have this comprehensive plan laid out for how to get America back into its good position and then just shut down the government. No, that plan comes in while the government is open, while the country's still working. We don't shut the government down for many things. This was not one of the things that needed to shut the government down for. Like, literally, there was no reason at all. So I think Fetterman set an incredibly good example for everyone to see here, and I'm quite glad that he did. I totally agree with his stance. I think that was extremely wise. And hopefully, the young radical Democrats, the far left that is creeping and scaring everyone out right now, will look at this and will realize that this is more where the Democrats should be. Democrats, the good Democrats, are going to be rational people. They're going to be rational people that realize capitalism works, okay? These are the good Democrats. The good Democrats see what's best for the country, not what they want for themselves. Those are the good Democrats. The bad Democrats do not see that. They do not study history. So they do not know what mistakes have been made, okay? And Donald Trump is a good example of someone who has studied history, okay? Mamdani is not a good example of that. Mamdani is barely American. Because apparently he cares more for people that are not American than he does for Americans. So, again, this is the issue with the left. This is why they are crumbling, why they cannot stick together, form a good plan. And Fetterman just kind of pulled it out. And he said, even as a Democrat, I cannot stand for when our military is not being paid. I cannot stand for when our people are not getting food. I cannot stand for that. And I totally agree with him. He is totally right about that. Totally right about all of that. Now, my secret sending man sent me a video to react to. This is Michael Knowles, apparently. I haven't watched it yet, but maybe I've seen it at some point in my life, on YouTube or whatever. It looks reasonably familiar, but we're gonna have to watch it. Let's see what it's all about. Let's just give this a go, and we'll see how this whole reacting business works.
Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Mm-hmm.
Mothers? Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
I prefer to use precise language.
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then
I try to be moral when I can, but I...
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language.
To include
and
who?
It seems to include people who don't, identify as women but can become pregnant.
Oh my goodness, I love his face at the end. If you go back and look at the end, his face is just kind of like, it's so confused. Like, what on earth? Why is this happening? I kind of regret coming on here. He made a great point also, and she kind of dug her hole, because she says, it's just a couple other syllables, it's just a few more syllables. Yes, and by saying those few more syllables, you are allowing someone to live a lie, which you cannot do. That is wrong. Morally, I cannot allow that. See, I'm being moral like Michael here. Michael says, I try to be more. He is moral in this case, okay? And he is on the right side. And it's funny, because we actually never apparently get to the core of the question at the beginning, which is, what kills, the most mothers, or like she said, pregnant people. we never get to that because then Michael Knowles points out the very obvious issue. So mothers, and then of course that totally takes her off. How dare you assume that pregnant people are mothers? It's very wrong of you. You shouldn't do that. You know, so like, what if Mario is pregnant? You would not call him a mother, because Mario will never be pregnant. Okay, Mario knows he's a guy and he's very attracted to the blonde Princess Peach. Okay, and that is my point. Mario will never be pregnant. Males cannot be pregnant. It is only females. There are only two genders, right? Male, female. Female is the one that can be pregnant, can carry a baby. Males cannot. There's no multiple gender. There's no multiple people not identifying as anything. Okay, because I saw the most disgusting thing. It's called a throuple, I think. It's 3 people married, all saying they're non-binary, don't know what they're gender neutral. Both of their kids apparently are gender neutral. Guys, it was the grossest thing I've ever seen. Totally traumatized me. Totally traumatized me. I was so sick. And those are the people that are going to believe a lie like this. That anybody can become pregnant. No, they can't. They cannot. They cannot. Physically. They cannot. Okay? You can try to implant a womb in someone. You can try to take all the necessary precautions to be able to give someone that is not a lady, which would make them a male, a baby. But you cannot. The way anatomy, the way biology works, is a man and a woman only can have a child, and only the woman can carry it because she's the only being with a womb. That is just how biology works. I'm very sorry if it is hard for you to see that. But Michael Knowles makes a great point here. So mothers? Yes, mothers. That is 100% correct. The fact that she even has to think about it is horrifying. No, do not use the inclusive language because you're allowing them to live a lie. You must point out the lie. Do it kindly, of course. Do it gently. Do it peacefully. But point out the lie. Men cannot carry babies. Women can carry babies. That is how science works. That was a great snippet. Michael Knowles did an excellent job. Obviously, go check him out. He's great. He's helped my political mind kind of think through a lot of things, so I really enjoy that. Thank you so much to my special sender for handing me that video. Thank you all so much for watching. That is the episode for today. I hope you all enjoyed. We broke 100, I believe, so that's a milestone. Hey, it's not something huge, but it is a milestone that is 3 digits. I hope to see this grow so much more, Lord willing, so thank you guys so much for what you've done already, and I will see you all in the next one. God bless.